And we are back on the talk with AVC, and we are moving into our NHL and NBA segment. We're going to start on the ice with the NHL. Going into tonight, we have Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals between the Dallas Stars and the Golden Knights. The Dallas Stars are up 3-1 in this series on the Knights. I'm honestly surprised. I thought I had Vegas winning going into this. It looks like I might have been a little bit wrong. Yes, Dallas may not be able to match up with Vegas with their speed, but their experience and their just ability to create open shots is impressive. I mean, I was in the last game. I remember a stat in I believe it was the first or second period after Dallas's first goal, where they tied the game up at 1. You saw the shooting percentages. Vegas was 22 shots on goal. So 21 of those were saved, 22 was the goal. And for Dallas, only 7 shots on net. So Dallas doesn't get a crazy amount of shots on net, but they are very good at creating a quality shot. And we've seen that throughout the series. A lot of experience against a really well-balanced Golden Knights squad. And I think just the big thing with Dallas, it's just gonna come down to using their size to impose their will and slowing down Vegas's high-flying attack, because Vegas can get going, and Dallas needs to prevent that if they want to move on to the Stanley Cup Finals tonight. Robin Lehner is going to be starting after talks about it being either him or Fleury. It looks like Vegas is going to roll with Robin Lehner. And honestly, with the way these games have been going, I think I'm thinking Dallas might take it tonight. I wouldn't be shocked, though I wouldn't be shocked either way. This has been a very competitive, good, fun series to watch. We'll see how it goes. I'm very excited to watch this game tonight. And then tomorrow we will see Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Islanders and the Lightning. As I said going into this series, I think the Lightning just have better overall talent than the Islanders. The Islanders have good coaching, but even without Stamkos, the Lightning appear to be dominating most courses of play. There were some interesting fights to see, but seriously though, why are you picking a fight with Matt Martin? I don't know who the moron was on the Lightning, but he picked a fight with Matt Martin and he got whooped. So the Lightning are looking to advance to the Stanley Cup Finals, and they haven't done this in a long time, and they've consistently choked in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think it's very interesting narratives going into this game. I think the Lightning can put a lot of demons to bed if they can pull off this game tonight. I would very much like to see it. I'm pulling for the Lightning in this Tuesday one. I think they're going to take it. I think the Lightning definitely, I think, advance to the Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow night. I think tonight, though, it's a toss-up, to be completely honest. It's too hard to pick a clear winner between Vegas and Dallas. Now, moving over to the hardwood in the NBA, there are no games on tonight. Tomorrow will be the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. I have predictions for that in my previous video if you'd like to check that out. And then we have Game 7 of the Nuggets and Clippers. This series isn't all that hard to me. If the Clippers show up and play to their potential, there is nobody in the NBA who can beat them. However, they have a penchant, and they've shown it this entire playoffs, of not showing up at their potential and playing down to their competition, just not living up to expectations every night. Kawhi Leonard can only do so much, and it has forced a Game 7. The Nuggets have played well in the bubble, and I believe they can. This will be another close game tonight. The Nuggets are a hard test for anybody with their depth and their youth, and they're able to have a lot of guys score a lot of points. However, and honestly, whoever wins this game is my pick to come out of the West. I think both these teams can beat the Lakers. I wouldn't be I'd be less surprised with the Clippers beating them, but I think Denver has the scoring depth to beat them. And that leads into what happened in the other Western Conference semifinals match with the Lakers and the Rockets. Well, let's put it this way. The Rockets went full Rockets. They choked once again. James Harden was silent. They got rondoed. Playoff Rondo returned for I believe it was game 4, and he dropped about a 30 bomb with about 8 to 9 assists and about 5 boards. Look, I've been saying this entire playoffs that what the Lakers have needed is a third and fourth guy to step up. They hadn't had that, which is why I wasn't very bullish on them. But with Rondo playing playoff Rondo, if he continues to do this, I think he might be the big ingredient to them capturing the title. I think it comes down to a depth thing a lot of times in the finals. Yes, LeBron and AD can do a lot, but can they do it every single game? You need somebody else to step up. And if Rondo is the guy, Rondo can be the guy, I think. He's done it before. He's a little older now, but, he hasn't played a ton. He was coming off injury, but I think he has enough in him to make it a lot interesting. By the way, report with the Rockets is that Mike D'Antoni will not be returning to the team. He is leaving the team. He will be on the coaching market this offseason. He will get a job. I don't know where, but he will most definitely be signed by some team. I would also expect Daryl Morey to probably be fired this offseason, given how the whole Westbrook thing didn't live up to expectations. But who knows? Maybe the Rockets will be content. So with that in mind, we have quite a bit of time here left in this segment. So I would like to go deeper into these segments. And there's other big news as the NBA offseason is coming up. Now, a lot of it doesn't have to do with free agents this year, but more so free agents next year. We all know who I'm talking about. I will get to him in a second. But the one quick thing I want to talk about is one thing that I think people haven't talked much about. Will Anthony Davis leave the Lakers? It has basically been perceived as a foregone conclusion that Anthony Davis will re-sign with a max contract to the Lakers this offseason. Is it a foregone conclusion? Maybe, maybe not. Look, LeBron is not getting any younger. And if you don't win a title this year, it's going to be very hard to accrue the depth necessary once you pay a max contract to Anthony Davis. Your two max slots between LeBron and AD will have already been filled. So what are you left with? You don't have the draft capital after you traded it for AD. So what you are left with is a squad of ring chasers like you had this season. And if you don't win the title this year, are you convinced that another year of age for LeBron with this squad can win a title next year? I'm not so sure. I think you'd really need to get some quality depth, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to. Look, Anthony Davis, and he also had a really healthy season this year. Don't forget, Anthony Davis has had a lot of injuries in his career. I would not be utterly surprised if something happened to him next year. I'm obviously hoping that doesn't happen, but it's still a very real possibility. This is the problem with going all in like Rob Pelinka did for Anthony Davis. It creates a lot of holes on your roster that you might not be able to fill within your championship window. Your championship window starts now, and this is where you're going to start to miss guys like Ingram, Lonzo, D'Angelo Russell. Guys like that you are going to miss, even Ivica Zubac, like young guys, you're going to miss these players down the stretch. You cleared up all this contract room for Kawhi Leonard this past offseason, and you didn't get him, and you missed out on all the other free agents. I would be a lot more bullish on this team if you would sign guys like JJ Redick, even just shooters, maybe even like a Gallinari. If you have the money room this offseason, I would look into signing guys like that. You need consistent shooters. You need guys who can play defense. You can't be relying on LeBron in an age 36 season. That's just not, you can't rely on him to carry you every night. It's just not going to work. So we have a lot of topics that we could get into here in this NBA segment. I'm going to go with the one that everybody seems to be talking about is with the Bucks early elimination. Is this the death nail with Giannis? Is he going to leave? As far as my opinion on whether he should leave, I sadly think yes. Even though I am a fan of him being in Milwaukee because I like the small market value, I like the mentality that Giannis has, similar to how Dame has that mentality in Portland. I think the window is starting to close with Giannis. Now, this was a great point made. I believe it was Stephen A. Smith's take on the thing. There was a tweet sent out a while back by Jay Williams saying that Giannis is Scottie Pippen waiting for his Jordan. He is not Scottie Pippen. Giannis is Shaq waiting for his D Wade or his Kobe. Giannis needs a guy probably just slightly under as good as him, but a very quality offensive-minded guard, to be honest. Maybe even a two-way guard, two-way wing to play with that to take him to the next level. And they don't have that in Milwaukee. They were hoping it was Chris Middleton. He definitely wasn't that in this playoffs, and now he looks to be one of the most overpaid players in the league. Not that he's not a quality player, but is he going to put you over the top? The other thing I'd like to look at is what went wrong here with this Bucks team. What were the mistakes they made leading up to this situation right now? For that, we have to look at the moment where the one moment that we think that all went wrong. There are a couple of moments, but I don't think those are really the key. It doesn't have to do with Jabari Parker completely flaming out and losing his star potential due to his bad knees. It doesn't have to do with the Budenholzer hiring. It doesn't have to do with losing Nikola Mirotic. If you're familiar with TV jargon, there is a term in television called jumping the shark. The term is named after the show Happy Days, where the Fonz literally jumps the shark. And it represents the show's sharp decline in quality and spiral towards cancellation. You can use the same logic for sports. Some of those moments are kind of easy to identify, like the Knicks with James Dolan becoming the majority owner. Steve Yzerman being booted from the Red Wings and leaving Ken Holland in charge. The Islanders with the John Spanos saga, Vancouver fans rioting after losing the finals, the Kyrie trade in Cleveland. There are easy ways where you can see this here. With Milwaukee, again, it wasn't Jabari Parker. It wasn't even, I don't think, the Eric Bledsoe trade. And it wasn't even losing Mirotic. It wasn't that. No. The moment they jumped the shark was letting go of Malcolm Brogdon. That was the moment where the Bucks jumped the shark. Here's why. One thing that Milwaukee was lacking was a guy they could give the ball to who could create his own shot and who could be the guy that you say, okay, we need a bucket, take the ball. Giannis does not have the shooting or free throw acumen available to do that. He is a very good big, but he is not going to be able to be that guy, at least not at this point in his career. He's not that guy. The problem was this. The Bucks were heading into the offseason and they faced a couple choices. You were losing guys like Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, and Eric Bledsoe, along with Malcolm Brogdon being a restricted free agent. So they had the right to offer him more money than anybody else, and they could also match whatever contract he was given. He wasn't given a max by the Pacers. He was given a 3-year, $64 million contract, I believe. They chose to keep Eric Bledsoe because Budenholzer and the staff felt he fit better defensively. And they also thought by keeping Brook Lopez and hoping that Mirotic stayed, along with the continued quality play of Chris Middleton, that they wouldn't need Brogdon, and that would be enough. That was the mistake. Brogdon was a guard on the up and up. Yes, there were injury concerns. However, the quality from him was just too much to bear. Yes, he wasn't actually, I don't know if he was healthy in this playoffs. I honestly forget. But this was the star perimeter player in the making that you needed. This was the quality guard that could have elevated your entire offense. Just think about how the floor spacing changes if Brogdon is in the game. You're not scared of Eric Bledsoe pulling up from anywhere. He has been honestly a quite overrated player at this point in his career. Brook Lopez is a spot-up shooter at this point. Chris Middleton, I don't really know. He's supposed to be a 3-and-D wing, but if he is, he's ridiculously overpaid to be that. Wesley Matthews wasn't really able to do much. Kyle Korver didn't play except for that one game where they put him in for about 20 minutes to just try to get some shooting out of somebody. You never really gave Dante DiVincenzo a chance to break into the starting lineup, and you over-relied on Giannis and Eric Spoelstra coach circles around you. It was kind of the perfect storm of mediocrity, but with Brogdon on the floor with you, that all changes. Brogdon takes some pressure off Giannis. He takes some pressure off Middleton. He takes pressure off of everybody on the court by being that ball-handling, shooting point guard that you needed. And that was the downward spiral. And honestly, that decision to not go over the luxury tax or to not re-sign someone else, but to keep Brogdon, to not keep Brogdon, let him go to Indiana, that might have just cost you Giannis. because I don't think there's any real move that the Bucks can make at this point that's going to elevate the roster enough to win a championship. I don't think there's a move they can make. There are moves they have talked about, like Chris Paul. Look, I like Chris Paul. I love Chris Paul. I think he's a great point guard. What would you have to give up? Simply to make the money work, you would have to probably give up either Chris Middleton or a package of Bledsoe, Brook Lopez, and another player because of how much money Chris Paul is making to make the money work. Now, if you're Oklahoma City, why would you get rid of one bad contract that expires in 2 years, depending on if Paul accepts his player option? Why would you do that if you're going to get in return just a bunch of bad old contracts? So what would they have to include to entice the deal? Well, maybe a DiVincenzo, but DiVincenzo does not have the value at this point to replace Chris Paul. They're not going to accept that. You're going to deal in Middleton. Then what? Then you're left with a giant hole at the wing spot. And if you trade Lopez, that's another shooting problem you're going to have, because Chris Paul isn't a knockdown three-point shooter at this point in his career. He can hit his open shot and he can dribble himself open, but he's not a knockdown shooter at this point in his career. Another age of Chris Paul. What you're going to have to give up draft picks. Here's the problem. Most of your draft picks are locked up in protections till about 2025. So you're going to have to give up a bunch of future draft picks in 2024 and 2025. I wouldn't take that if I'm Oklahoma City instead of just 2 years of Chris Paul. And I could probably find another team that would give me a better offer than that. So to be honest, I think the Buccaneers have just the Bucks have just put themselves in a tough spot, and it is going to go with Giannis leaving. There are people who just say fire Budenholzer to fix it. Here's the problem with that. Who are you going to replace Budenholzer with that's really going to make a difference? There is no coach on the market that is going to make more of a difference than Budenholzer had. Budenholzer is not a bad coach, but I don't think he's good enough to win you a finals. I think it's going to cost you Giannis. We are not going to get into where I think Giannis should go because, quite frankly, this segment has gone on rather long, and I got to save something for you guys for next time. So thank you very much for turning into the Talk with AVC. I hope you enjoyed this segment. If you haven't already, check out all my other ones, our NFL and MLB college football segments. Again, thank you all very much for watching. I appreciate it very much. And I will see you guys next time, next week, Monday at 1 o'clock sharp. Don't forget to tune in.